But I'm not that blind though. You ain't nothing but a unique hoe. You got work and you sell it for low. I got dope and I sell it for high. Fire, nigga. You ain't ready. Come on your block with that confetti. Ain't no party, but we turned up. Peep out the shirt, I stay with Fetty. If a nigga got a problem with me, I don't give a fuck. That made me better than you. Let a nigga say your name wrong, strike out to the crib, load up and get ready to shoot. Boy, use a hoe, that what bitches do. Fuck it, that's on your boo boo. Reload that shit. So toot. I got bitches, but I call them fruit. Ain't nobody that can stop me from flex. Just cause I'm shy, don't get the test. I am the champ. You think that you better than me? Get on my level. When you think that you better than me, just go and get a show. Nobody can be better than me, cause it's better to you.
Louisiana, our state.
Yeah. I found this frog magnet in a vacant. I'm keeping it. Put that thing right there. Okay, she keep calling every single night. Day and night on my mind, please don't kill the vibe. Oh, swear to God, I'll be in my mind. Swear I wanna die, yeah. I wanna die, yeah. Not a riot, I'm not start a riot. I'm so fucking tired. What's up? What you say? I'm celebrate. Fucking A. Stepping shit on my plate. Outside of my misery, I think I'll find a way of envisioning a better life for the rest of us. The rest of us, oh, for the rest of us. The rest of us. Okay, she keep calling every single night. Day and night on my mind, we don't get a ride. Oh, swear to God, I ain't mine. Swear I wanna die, yeah. I wanna die, yeah. No, not a riot. I might start a riot. I'm so fucking tired. So what's up? What you say? Feeling good, I'm feeling great. Tired of this fucking hate. Stabbing shit all on my plate. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. I got my love at your place today. We're so young for these insecurities. Want my heart on my sleeve so long. Break won't be so long. Speak out my name, tatted on the wrist. I don't know why something's wrong with this. This one in love I ain't seen before. And I don't know if I can handle it anymore. from a distance. I don't wanna pass
Feel
me
confident
by.
your taxes are done right with TurboTax Live Experts. With 100% accuracy guaranteed. Try it now.
Stinky pits and feet? Well, I'm a board-certified dermatologist, and I've got the fix with Native's new whole...
That's yours? Tell me what's going I don't know what's real. What?
This shit funny.
It's strong as fuck, boy.
She told me put my heart in the bag. Ain't nobody gets hurt. I'm not fast, so I'm making it worse. Now I'm digging up a grave for my past. I'm a whole different person. It's a gift and a curse, but I cannot reverse it. I can't reverse it.
It was a gift and a curse, and I'm drinking too much, and now I talk with a slur. Last time I saw you, it ended in a blur. I woke up in a hearse. She said you love me first.
My dad told me was
Never let your woman know when you're insecure.
so I put Gucci on the
Fine, I put my wrist on the iceberg.
thing. My heart tells me it's
Flakes on the hole every time you're insecure.
Ooh, I'm running for you. Is your love for real?
Yeah. Is your love really true?
She told me put my heart in the bag. Ain't nobody gets hurt.
Now I'm running from a love. I'm not fast, so I'm making it worse. Now I'm digging up a grave from my past. I'm a whole different person. It's a gift and a curse, but I cannot reverse it.
I really hate to run around. You really got me paranoid. I always keep on down around. You always give me butterflies.
When you come around, when you come around,
When you come
around,
love is not the answer.
not the answer.
Not the answer.
I made you trust in my bananas. I get high when you don't decide to answer the phone. Home, I need the phone. Home, I'm throwing rocks at your window. I need to go home. With you. She told me put my heart in the bag, that nobody gets hurt.
Now I'm running from a love. I'm not fast, so I'm making it work. Now I'm digging up a grave from my past. I'm a whole different person. It's a gift and a curse, but I'm reverse it. Thank you, Lord, that I'm finally home. It's not really because of my fucking job again. I swear, and it was gonna be so fucking worth it too. It was gonna be so fucking worth it. It wasn't gonna be worth it because I was gonna be in the same fucking spot that I was in before I got the fucking job. But bruh, sometimes you just gotta beat some sense into some niggas, bro. I swear. Shit, my bad. Give me reason to feel this love that make this thing begin. Let it be enough to reach the truth and love.
foot creep, ooh, walk. Right foot creep, ooh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch them bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him. Right foot creep, ooh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch them bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him. Right foot creep, ooh.
Shooting at me. Bruh, I ain't listened to this song in so long. Bruh, I don't know why I keep on thinking Facing Temptations. I'm about to say, we can out. We let him. Drum gun. I'm not even gonna refill you. What I other done it? Why? I had the pistol. I ain't had no fucking pistol. I had the shield motion. drunk. That's that shit. Just spent money on the bitch to take the fucking scope off. Now I gotta spend more money to take this. So there's a project. You see I'm drinking this shit, so I have Snatch your ass. Yank your ass. Quick. Yeah. Take this shit.
This is not the end, this is not the beginning. Just a like a right in everyone vision. What? What? Forget it, let it all disappear. Yeah.
Right foot creep, oh, walking with right foot creep, oh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure that
What? I'm good on figure 9 right now. I'm good on figure 9. What? 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 Yeah, I run away in fear of dying today. And I'm not the same. Who said I was sunshine today? My demons are working under a gun. this will never make me happy. They give me erection, this don't mean it's gonna be everlasting. And the devil watch. And the devil watch. You know I know you watch it. This is a Franklin in my pocket. Other center, other pay channel. Because this shit is on the handle. Show me like a vandal. Take my hand. Don't give up. Take my hand. Don't give up. Yeah, I know I ain't fear of me dying today. And I'm not the same. Feelings are breaking out every day. I'm praying that I'll see another day. Working on the day. And what you Baby lurking, that's a drum though, bro. That close quarter definitely gonna get niggas out of here. I gotta come across some new bitch.
boy. That's some cheating shit, boy. That's some cheating shit, boy. Ooh, that's some cheating shit. Yeah, I'm about to y'all do bitch.
At least for right now.
Fuck, bro.
Earlier this week, we were on a TikTok live. If you haven't seen the clip. Earlier this week, we were on a TikTok live. If you haven't seen the clip, if you haven't seen what's going on, we were on a TikTok live, being asked to comment on the Quiet on Set documentary, which we haven't seen, and yeah, super shit joke came out.
Oh, they addressed it. He addressed it, bro. Cause I was like, bro, he need to take that back. I swear, that nigga said, told you not to talk about that, Daniel. Now go in your hole. Give me the hole. That boy was so up for that shit, bro. That shit was funny, but like that shit was kind of fucked up. But he immediately was like, nah, that's not it. Like, boy. Bro, I really feel like at least the intro should really be on the original song. Cause bruh, just listen to it one more time. He raked that bitch. boss. Bitch, I got boss. Bitch, I got. They trying to throw rocks, they think that it's how Scotch. I pull up and show stop it. I ain't like slide clock. And these bitches mad, they think that it's TikTok. And these bitches mad, they got all these big box. Hold on, wristwatch got a big clock. Hating assholes, and a bitch a big op. Sitting on top, yeah, these bitches bitter. If you ain't getting money, I ain't fucking with you. Go and grab your calculator. Go and pop that pussy like a percolator. Every day my birthday, you should celebrate me. You just want to hate ass bitches. They trying to throw rocks, that they do this hopscotch. I pull up and show cock that I ain't like Cyclops. Any bitches bad, they blame it on TikTok. Any bitches bad, I got all these big box. Hold on, wristwatch got a big clock. Hating asshole, that bitch a big op. Pull that on the. Ooh. Run that shit, man.
Start your forex
Whoa.
trading journey with up to $10,000 in cash bonuses.
I just skipped the Playboy Cardi song. Just know I did.
IG. They say the aches and pains are enough here, and it's all downhill after 40. Well, I'm just getting started.
Put it on my nigga 8 in the process. Nigga try to tippy toes to the progress. Tell top is the troops of the object. Was the pros and the cons of this next check. Wasn't nobody around, I was independent. In the never seen a bomb with the windows tinted. Heard a bomb got a strap in the party. Who the fuck is this bitch in the party? Beat him up, beat him up, beat him up. I was seeing double in the projects, mad at myself with it. I'ma have to cater for the coupe, then we roll to the school on the way to pop. Niggas wanna play both sides? Wrong red eyes? Maybe they move them guys. Fuck around and bury two of them guys. I'm only in Paris, I'm only in France. I thought that I told you I needed you. Put down your IG and look through my lens. I made it to grandma who did I. He buried the dreams of me as a fan. I made it to million and did it. I fucking need word like this is my pain. Uncle G told me that I had it. And then I popped out and did it again and did it again and did it again. And then I respected it and did it again. Advice for the cops that nobody in. It's up in the ruins of 40 trends. I'm ducking the hoes. I'm ducking the loony that come with the shows. I bring from the man that he opened the doors. I'm helping the two us to come and compose. I bring to the stars. I'm magic controls. The strangers and sense. Most niggas froze. I tell you my past. That shit don't get old. That probably last. And I don't be writing my raps. Everyone tap. You gotta relax. The city when nobody speaks.
Just tap in and ask where I'm at. Ho!
Smoking on your top 5 tonight. Smoking on your what's the name tonight. Smoking on your Zoe tonight.
I'm in the Omega. Peaches ain't rolling again. SIE, don't you address me unless it was 4 letters. I thought you known better. I've been ducking the pandemic. I've been ducking the social gimmicks. I've been ducking the overnight activists. Yeah, I'm not the trending topic. I'm a.
Hold on, y'all niggas playing with me, man.
I'm the Omega. Peaches ain't rolling again. SIE, don't you address me unless it was 4 letters. Bitch, I thought you known better. I've been ducking the pandemic. I've been ducking the social gimmicks. I've been ducking the overnight activists. Yeah, I'm not the trending topic. I'm a prophet like Esther, Metatron, and Gabrielle. Bitch, looking for a better me. I am a legacy. I come from the 70s, the Algreen, offspring, guns in the melody, the big shot, wrist on cryotherapy. Soon as I press that button, niggas better get it right like the ambulance coming. They're like, you been through day 3 with at least 1 B in the oven. It's amazing, brother. Pop off on an occasion, brother. Rich nigga mommy done made it, brother. Call cases, brother. Faces, brother. Gracious, brother. New folks won't be creation, brother. Show my ass ain't take out of class. I got multitask like making, brother. 2021, I ain't taking no prison. Last year, y'all fucked up. All this is, call it a visitor. Who the fuck back in all been falsified? The facts and mean this vaccine in the game, he need to survive. The Elohim, the rebirth. Before you get the father, you gotta holler at me first, bitch. Smoking on top 5. Motherfuck that album, fuck that single, burn that hard drive. Ain't nobody safe when I'm coming out, kill everybody that's outside. Man, Kanye changed his name, but me, I'm to the old school Gemini. Chilling up in this bitch, let me tell me this bitch. 2 phones down, I don't make one in this bitch. Look down in the name of my sons in this bitch. Oh, shit ain't none in this bitch. I'm scary, I got a gun in this bitch. Smoking on top 5's. Just know I heard that nigga, this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Free. I take my shirt off and I take my shirt off and smoking on a hit stick, got a nigga fried. I'm hanging with the power Rouge, hanging with the fire. I got my ties, I got fucking my ties. I got niggas sitting chain gang on my side. I got niggas sitting chain gang on my side. I had a nigga shank online for a pie. I had a nigga shank online for a pie. I'm on demon time. I'm on demon time. I done lost my body. I'm a young bitch. That nigga stupid. Young bitch. Pussy ass niggas can't hang around me. All these pussy ass niggas liabilities. I'm so shiesty, I ain't got a OG. But I keep the blicky tips in case they try me. Keep me out. Keep me out. Carry them out. Carry them out. That's how I'm gonna stop. That's how I'm gonna stop. I fuck with your top. I fuck with your top. You fuck with my op. You fuck with my op. You fuck with my op. You fuck with the cops. If I took the moon, I just hit a lick with a mask and a doom. I just rocked the show on some motherfucking shrooms. I'm the biggest fan in the fucking green room. In the room, so let's go and buy some shoes. I'm all day, bitch, I can't lose. Got the people going crazy watching all my moves. Big sit, this cool. A big don't cut you and check your best shoes.
Someone that suffers from having sensitive teeth, but you want them whiter, I recommend Sensodyne Clinical White.
We can only get all Domino's mini priced pizzas for 50.
Yo.
What up, Nelchies?
What's up, bro?
How you feeling, bro?
I'm better now, bro. I got some liquor in my system.
Got a little liquor in your system,
Yeah. I'm way better, bro. I apologize for letting you see myself like that. That was not me.
Look, I understand, bro. You just, nigga had it up to him.
Yeah.
Stop doing that old dumb ass shit.
Exactly, bro.
You know, that's what it is.
Shit, yeah. Well, I'm
done, though.
Yeah.
So, it's done. Only thing was, we just ain't got no fucking blinds, folks.
Yeah, cause
Ain't no fucking blinds.
Yeah, that's why I put that one up they had in that bitch, bro. So if they moving in this weekend, fuck it.
Fuck it. Put some curtains up until we get something.
Right.
So that's what it is. I had to wipe the fucking toilet down, wax and shit get all over that bitch.
Oh Lord.
It's all good though. I know. Even up out this bitch right now.
Oh damn, you was still there? Damn.
Uh-huh. The fucking the flash and shit like that. That bitch was coming apart and shit like that when I took the toilet when I took the old toilet off.
No, huh?
It was coming apart. Shit, yeah. It was coming apart.
I never had that happen before.
I had to break a piece of that bitch off, but make sure the metal piece was still on. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Push that bitch back down and shit. Make sure the pin lined up and was stable.
And that bitch fixed?
Shit. Put that other bitch on that bitch, man. Bolted that bitch down.
No leak.
Yeah, no leaks. I flushed that bitch a few times. We good. I ain't even bother to caulk the bottom of that bitch. I'm fucking.
Fuck it. Look. I feel you, bitch. Look, that bitch don't leak. That's one thing you know you gotta do. Just caulk that hoe. But that wax should hold it up though. That wax should hold it up.
It'll hold it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, look, my fucking feet hit the floor at 5 o'clock every motherfucking morning, man. Every morning, 5 o'clock. And I don't fucking go and get in the bed until fucking 11 o'clock most of the damn time. I am fucking tired.
Bro, I am so. Bro, I am so sorry, bro.
Look, that ain't good. Man, look, I told you, bro. I meant that shit when I told you, man. Just go ahead and go home. Everybody get to their motherfucking point, bro.
And I look, and bro, and I've been trying to just push through that shit, bro. That's what I was really trying to do, cause that shit was just nonsense from the get go.
That shit get difficult. Y'all need to get on their ass about that shit, though. She need to let them know stop doing that shit. That's putting too much motherfucking pressure on us. You heard me?
Exactly,
what
bro.
time of the night it is, and I'm leaving here. Everybody going home.
Everybody going home. That's that shit I be talking about. They ass be rushing out that bitch, bro.
Straight up.
Like, and they just.
If they see me Monday, you ain't gonna even.
And look, I don't blame you. I swear I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be mad at you. I swear I won't. Cause that's reckless, bro. Cause like they ain't really thinking about this shit. You know.
I ain't even go my ass over there to 103 yet. Check on the
Man, that shit straight, bro. Man, that shit straight. Fucking doorknob. If anything, she probably want that fucking that bolt flip. But that doorknob was straight, bro. It's a loose bitch, but it's screwed on that bit all the way. You know, it opens the door. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, and she probably don't know you gotta push that hole to actually close it because it's not gonna close on the first push or whatever. It's not gonna close automatically like it's supposed to. That's what I had to figure out. So that's really probably the fucking problem, real talk, bro. That's why I ain't really take that shit seriously, bro. I ain't check on that shit. I was zooming out this bitch. I ain't gonna lie. I said fuck that.
Yeah, I seen you. I ain't lying.
Bro.
I sent you a picture of that bitch, man. That bitch done, bro. I get it up what it is.
Let me see. Hold on. Cause yeah, I'm about to say yeah, man. Real life. That bitch, man. And you flushed that bitch, right? To make sure that bitch.
I flushed that bitch a few times.
Oh yeah, man. You good. I wish a nigga would say, caulk the bottom of the toilet, bitch. Why?
I ain't doing shit.
I swear to God.
Like, for real. I'm gonna go in this motherfucking office and clock my ass the fuck out, bro.
I swear to God. Don't waste no minute, bitch. Clock the fuck out.
For real. I need to wash my hands like a motherfucker. I had to throw a pair of my gloves away and shit.
Oh damn.
You know what? I ain't even worried about the plastic gloves. I had a pair of gloves. I'm like, fuck it. I just throw these bitches away and give me another pair of gloves.
Yeah, I said I was gonna do that. Yeah, I said I was gonna do that this weekend because I'm wearing my little bitches out.
Yeah, I ain't had time to get none of them lippy ass plastic gloves. Keep taking them bitches off, putting some more on, all that bullshit.
Yeah, that just was some quick work right there. I don't even get them bitches like that.
Straight up.
I swear. y'all.
I am ready to motherfucking go.
Look, you deserve it, bro.
Good, man.
It is, bro.
Enjoy your fucking weekend, bro.
You too, bro.
You know, shit, just like you told me, nigga, if you need me, if you get a call me, bro.
That's a bet. I got you.
Yeah. Even though I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna fucking call me.
Right, though.
You know, it's just the courtesy.
Yeah, I feel you. I appreciate it, though.
My dog.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, I just got off the phone with Josh, man. You know, he was pissed and shit like that they moved that bitch up too. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, so he knew that shit too.
And he knew it once I told him.
That's wild, boy.
It's wild, bro. Like for real. It's fucked up. I'm telling you, it's fucked up. Man, I don't know what time is it? Fucking 7:30.
7:30, man. You did a whole 12 at that bitch.
No shit.
Bruh. Boy, you got buku overtime. Exactly.
15.
Oh.
I done worked 55 hours and 40 minutes in this bitch this week.
Ridiculous.
55 fucking hours and 40 minutes. That's a goddamn shame.
Hey, if they paying us, fuck it. I would have went for 60. I swear.
I'm good with 55.
Yeah, I bet you are, bitch.
I ain't doing shit else. In this bitch.
Look.
Make sure this bag locked.
Yeah, that's why if I get a call, bro, I ain't gonna try to call you, man. If I do really need you, I'm gonna call you. Yeah, I'm about to say if I really need you, I'm gonna call you, bro. You need your rest, bitch.
I ain't tripping. I'll rest when the Lord call me home.
Hey, at least you can prep for that time, you know?
Well, I'm prepping. It's a spiritual thing.
It's a
It ain't got nothing to do with my works. It's my belief.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
It's my belief in the Lord. That's what's gonna get me in.
Nah, I feel you on that. That's some real shit.
If you believe in the Lord, the work's gonna come. You know what I'm talking about? Real talk.
Quick shit.
The work's gonna come. I ain't fucking tired though.
Man.
Like I said, though, Duff, man, you enjoy your fucking weekend. Take the load off, man. Forget about what happened today.
Yeah.
And you know, how the baby doing?
Shit, she good, bro. She was hype as hell, but she got off the phone once her cousins got there, so we was all good.
That's what's up, man. That's all that matters, bro.
Yeah, man. Real talk. I appreciate you, bro.
Right there. It's all good, baby.
Man,
Good,
enjoy your night. You too.
All right, G.
Anyways. Oh yeah, I'm about to fill another bowl up first. I'm gonna keep that open. Cause I know this motherfucker posted something. I'm a stalker. Oh. I be stalking for real. Of course this bitch posted. Oh, what damn. Oh well. I'm about to turn the music off anyway. have to fucking play around. I ain't gonna lie. This is annoying, bro. It's just real life annoying. Pota, was me ba, me more say for my gamma. No me so minga la so fe. Wo fa sakwa. Ne ho for me. Ne na more wa say for me na. Ne ho me na for wo be bate. Wo de bad way. Wo de bad way. Wo ba sa for fe. I didn't even feel the bowl yet. I just realized that shit. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Mon normalement, moi, so many from la mokwa seba. Lo manen say for magabala. Oh, my man.
Earlier this week, we were on a TikTok Live. If you haven't seen the clip, if you haven't seen what's going on, we were on a TikTok Live being asked to comment on the Quiet on Set documentary, which we hadn't seen. And, super shit joke came out that was referenced to Daniel and looked like I was talking about Drake, and it all overlaps. And we fucked up, I get it. We hadn't seen the doc, and everyone was asking us for our opinions on it.
Oh, on the TikTok.
Yeah. And I get it. Now having seen the documentary, it's so disturbing. I get they were asking us.
And we had no clue of the magnitude of what they were discussing. We're also multitasking. I'm sitting there editing the sound. I thought we had lost all of the footage.
Now we've watched it, and I get it. If I had just watched, especially that third episode, and then watched us joking like that,
you'd be upset.
I would be like, are they sociopaths? Like,
are they sociopaths?
Is something wrong with them?
So with that, get it clear, you guys were not speaking on that. You weren't talking about.
No, we hadn't watched. I didn't know. Wasn't sitting with the details at all. Like, I know what the joke sounds like, but I was talking to Daniel.
You were talking
we fucking do
to me while I was working. You know, people like, Daniel, you're off camera. What was going on? I'm sitting there at the desk working on audio, super multitasking.
Yeah.
And that statement was directed to me in the extreme way that we disparaged each other.
Yeah.
My constituents were just completely upset, and they wanted clear that we were not referring to that.
No, but we fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get what it looks like. I get it. It's overlapping each other in the fucking worst way. So we can get into that more. Everyone was asking for our take on Quiet on Set, and so I want us to do that now that we've watched it. And so I also want to say, on every live stream I've ever been on, previous to Quiet on Set even being a thing, there's always been a high amount of comments in every single live stream I've ever been on of people asking me to comment on Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
And I never have, because
we
didn't work with. This is what people were asking for on the live, and we did not have the capacity to do it.
Right. We've been screwed over by the business in ways, but what was revealed in that docuseries, this is an urgent matter. Like, something needs to happen.
Like, it affects them for the rest of your life. When Kyle Sullivan from all that, it was in the trailer too, but when he said, like, it made him trust the world less, like, I get why, and that's just devastating. Like, his experience pursuing his childhood dream, because of the adults and the adult environment that was created, he trusts the world less.
And it's stuff like, you know, like money. We talked about the money woes associated with it.
Yeah.
But it's like, geez, it's even a luxury to have that to complain about when there are these really, really awful things that money cannot even bring back.
Yeah.
It's crushing.
And you remember the pressure of just like trying to be everything, all of it, to the nth degree, like, you're so not gonna have to worry about me. I'll actually, like, you know, I'll give you everything.
Or you need me to stay a little later?
Exactly.
Got you.
Anything is sort of just like,
I'm sick, I'll push
thank God
through.
I'm here. Thank you for letting me be here.
And let me make you proud.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it really sucks, because your self-worth is so tied into pleasing these adults.
Yeah.
Maintaining adult humor at such a young age. You're talking about these things you barely even understand, but you just want them to say.
We had the normal pressure of knowing this is what our fucking people were like going through on other sets is fuck. So let's go through kind of some of the big things in the episode. So the first episode starts kind of laying. We can kind of talk about episode 1 and 4 is like they lay the groundwork for some of the toxic environment on Dan Schneider shows, and there's kind of a lot in there. The female writers on the Amanda Show stuff really
That was messed up. They split a paycheck. Like, why would you choose to single out people and say you guys are deserving of this lesser treatment?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
them having that same thing that the kids have of like, this is my dream. I have to do everything to make this work.
That's what's so fucked is it's so hard to succeed in this industry on every level that when you get opportunities, it's huge. You have to make it work.
Yep.
You have to climb your way into momentum in this industry or hit some big luck. And for someone to be at best unaware, at worst taking advantage of that fucking dynamic, you know, in any job, there's hierarchy and there's a power dynamic. If a boss creates a space where you don't feel comfortable voicing how you feel, or that, hey, you crossed the line there, could we not? You're going to go along with things that don't make you comfortable. When that female writer was like, can we not even talk about the sodomy?
That was horrible. That was horrible.
This is 25 years later, and she's like, can we not talk about that? There's probably so much shame in her still because of that.
Because
she was peer pressure coerced.
Yeah.
And it's so gross, man.
And where's your mind at to where that's what you want to be doing in the writer's room of a kid's show?
Thank you. Dude, thank you. Yes. What the fuck, dude? All the sexual jokes that they go over? I was watching that, like...
It's ridiculous.
Why? So I saw Dan Schneider sort of justified that with, like, that went through layers of the network, like approval. You know, scripts do. They go through layers, and he kind of said, if they told me to cut it, I would have cut it. My thing is, like, why is this even fucking... Why is it even there?
In the first
Why are you writing sexual innuendo jokes? You know exactly what it is. You know exactly what the joke is.
Exactly. That's like,
why is it in a kid's show?
The
taint, Penelope Taint.
Penelope Taint. And this is something that's burned into my own memory. I remember those scenes.
Yeah.
And I remember that name. And also, like, who would think that it's not? Like the layers should have prevented something like that.
Yes.
I think they tried to check them once, they mentioned.
Right, and he explained it away as like, oh, it's the second definition in Oxford. Like, why?
Yeah,
why have
to say, okay, this is
That's bullshit.
confusing. Let's remove it.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you have sinister intentions.
Or
go ahead.
Or don't care. Like, not necessarily sinister intentions. Like, even the industrial and like ambivalence. Like they don't care.
No, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, go for it. Like, make our show. You know.
Power, just power. Like, you didn't sit there and say, well, then let's change it, since it is wrong.
Right.
Kids are still gonna consume this stuff.
Yeah. Why don't
fix it?
Why don't we not even overlap with that at all? Like, that's the boundary you have on children's television. Like, there's no need for fucking sexual innuendo.
Yeah, unless you're just terrible at writing. And if you are terrible at writing comedy, then go somewhere else.
or if your comedy is perverse, and if it is perverse, that's okay in an adult
But
world.
go to an adult.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
like the Ariana Grande like potato
No, that's
thing.
not tight, bro. Her pouring the water,
dude.
It's clearly there was an adult with a bad intention and mind.
A sick mind. Yeah, it's sick. It's gross.
Yeah.
There was like clips of like shake weight stuff. Like, why is this on children's television? And a ton of like phallic shit that's like just clearly overlapping with adult themes. Like, don't even overlap that at all. Yeah, it's just gross, man. It's just fucking gross.
Also, just then how he tried to like follow her to. I had no idea Dan Schneider was part of What a Girl Wants or what. What is it? Something like me.
The CW show, like What I Like About
What
You.
I Like About You.
I didn't know that.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. He tried to glom onto her and then continue to curate her image long after she's past the age of a Disney or a Nickelodeon person. Like, what other creator is like, hey, I'm gonna follow networks with you?
Yeah.
You know?
And really just thinking of a child like a product.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Even hearing like how normal it was that people, like, the environment was tense and scary when he was on set because he would yell regularly and people got used to that. Also, even early on the early All That seasons that they were covering, that he would kind of notably pick favorites and it would be known to children. Children are forming their entire fucking self-worth when they're in environments like this, and to be a fucking adult letting it kind of be known these are my favorites and you're not, it's so fucking egomaniacal, man. It's so not, you're not thinking of children, you're not aware. And how are you the biggest fucking showrunner for children's TV?
I don't know how they allowed him to be the premier guy at that network.
Yeah.
Through all of this scandal.
Yeah.
And all of these hiccups.
And knowing who Scott Fellows is, and like, I know he's not, you know, I feel like Dan Schneider is the, you know, the odd one out. I feel like you could have found so many more people like Scott and whatever. Like, I don't know why this one dark cloud.
It's so hard for us to describe for you listeners at home, like, who Scott Fellows is, our show creator, and the environment that he created on our set from the top down. We've talked about it a ton on our pod before. It's so hard for me to describe that was the experience we had, and that what you saw on Quiet on Set is the experience like so many of our peers had, because they're night and day different. Yeah, before we fully go into the Drake thing, let's also talk about, before the documentary gets into Drake, a PA named Jason Handy.
9-year-old.
Yeah, who had like 500 photos of child pornography.
That's disgusting, bro.
And this dude was a PA on these sets. Like,
Giovanni, I had dinner with Giovanni recently. She was telling me, well, she ends up bringing out her book showing her, like, you know, like they were...
Yeah, his note, that guy's note to her was, like, you guys are the reason
I work for free half the week.
It's so fucking disgusting. Like, oh my god, dude. It's... Again, I just want to say, I get, based on what people saw from our live, I get why they were so upset, thinking we were joking about these details. Like, we never would have been fucking around like that had we dropped into watching this. Dude, I watched it later that night and was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, well, when I watched it, I was catalyzed to want to do so much more, and I get why people would have been, and they were likely on the live to ask after having watched it.
And even considering touching like that topic or speaking on it at all now, in the mindset we were in, is so irresponsible.
And it has to clarify again, you were not talking about that.
Meanwhile, our audience is just watching this going like, hey guys,
give us answers, give us
something.
Yeah, give us something. Hold space with us.
Yeah, like, holy shit, because I mean, we're all, I get it, guys at home, we're all fucking disturbed by this. This is such a hit, even though we had a good experience, this is such a huge hit to, God, like, all of our childhood dreams. Like, this is so dark. It's such a hit to our generation, to Nickelodeon, to fucking the fun that's shown, the Kids' Choice Award, like, the dream of being a fucking kid actor, and what we all assume comes with that. Whoa, that must be the best. That must be the best life. Like, this documentary is showing us what some of our peers have been blowing whistles on for a while. People have to protect kid actors better, dude.
Oh, better. They have to start doing it at all, because right now there were no protections in place. It just seems like nothing was there. There's no reason this should happen.
This fucking guy with the child pornography only got 6 years?
What is that about?
6 years? When his diary says, I'm a pedophile thinking about raping a child. That was in his diary. And you give that man 6 years? I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
The system works at all. Like, take criminals off the streets, lock him up, throw away the key
for shit like this, like convicted child molestation, convicted child predators. How do you let them back in the world?
No, you cannot. There's no way to recuperate from that in my book. And the fact that there are still lawmakers out there who, seeing he's about to be released, didn't make a new law to say throw his ass back in there.
And like Brandy's mom, like that guy sent a naked photo to her 9-year-old daughter, dude. And she was a mom that was aware enough, like.
But she said she didn't want to call, though, didn't she?
She said she didn't want to call the police. She felt like she couldn't.
Brian Christopher Hearn, all that character, they interviewed his mom in that first episode.
No, she did.
And you could tell she was a real one. You could tell she had those eyes that my fucking mom has. You could tell she was out there looking out for her kid's best interest. And that this experience drove a wedge between her son and her when she was, because it sounds like they basically didn't invite him back because of third season because she was a real parent making sure her son was protected.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want any people who will speak up around.
And then, of course, as a kid,
that dynamic.
It broke my heart that she said, like, he changed and didn't trust her anymore. You get it from his perspective. He feels like, oh, you just crushed my dream because you were too much of a mom.
And we were
Meanwhile, look at what was in their fucking environment. His mom was so right.
She was a real mom. She was a real person.
But to think about the trajectory of their relationship and how that is a defining moment in their relationship, whether they've gotten past it or not. I mean, that's just devastating.
And again, that environment was even created. I really hate it.
But when children are the main focus of this show, network, whatever it happens to be, the fact that there are these sinister adults doing sinister things, it looks like in Dan Snyder's case, to each other, and then that trickles down to the kids.
It's dirty on the inside.
The amount of stories we have since doing this podcast, from co-stars on Ned's having a story of Scott Fellows coming and treating them like a human when they were feeling the pressure of the adult side of needing to be good, but they're a kid, and Scott treating them like a kid and either firing the person or making them feel seen for just being a kid. Like, that's how you have to. Kids are fragile, dude. Their entire identity is forming at these times, and to fucking make them feel this pressure of pleasing you and not stepping on toes and like, oh, fuck that, dude. So Dan gets covered, not fully as a predator, but just as a fucked up boss and a weirdo.
I don't want to be like I'm trying to lead a witch hunt. That's what I don't want.
Yeah.
But the fact that so much of this happened on his watch, there needs to be repercussions. So that this and I think people are catalyzed right now.
I think so.
To make that happen.
Let's get into the Brian Peck and Drake episode.
Someone that close to you preying on you, driving a wedge between you and your father, that's predatory on such a deeper level, because you're molding this kid's view of the world, their relation to their craft, and you're taking that from you're taking it from Bastard.
That all this happened before Drake and Josh, before Drake's longest running Drake and Josh was the biggest show on Nickelodeon.
Biggest.
And it ran for, I think, 5 seasons. Like, this was a huge thing. That all this happened before that Drake was carrying this that whole time.
That's crazy. I still haven't watched that shit yet.
It's unfathomable.
I still haven't watched that shit yet.
Bringing joy to so many people through all of that.
Yep.
Inspiring. Like, I mean, these are some of, like, you know, they weren't the oldest. Like, I was a Keenan fan. Like, heroes, though, champions of the field.
Yeah.
We all wanted to achieve something of that magnitude.
Yeah.
And to know that he was going through all of that is just, like, I don't even know how to express.
Yeah.
The hurt. That's why.
Gosh, I can't even pass that place.
We were this close. We would have been at Nick on Sunset. We shot the pilot there.
So the pilot, guys, the pilot of Ned's, we filmed at Nick on Sunset, where all the Dan Schneider shows film. In the winter of 2003, and Brian Peck was Stephen Markarian, who played your original character. He was his stand-in on our pilot.
He was his stand-in.
He was on our set.
He was right there with you guys.
Yeah.
This close.
Yeah. And I remember
That's crazy.
seeing, however many months later, my mom reading a newspaper, and I saw his face, and it said, child acting coach convicted of child molestation. And I remember pointing it out to my mom, going, Mom, he was on the fucking pilot. Like, that's how close we were, but then we steered into this other experience. Yeah. Some details from that fucking episode. The John Wayne Gacy thing with Brian Peck is insane. That's insane.
He sat there and tried to explain it away.
This convicted child molester.
I didn't even watch it.
He was on all these sets before being convicted. He had a self-portrait and a pen pal ship with a serial killer
of young boys.
A serial rapist and killer of young boys.
Crazy.
And this man is on child sets. Like, I can't even fathom. That's insane.
And also, not only having that, but
It's
being
on
so
Hulu.
willing and
Not
excited to just
not
play
knowing it's a secret. Like
What type of environment allows you to think that you can continue in your post and position with these obscure interests?
Yeah.
The fact that no one else had checked him. I know someone else has been to this man's house, you know.
Dude.
Someone else is, around him long enough to go, yo, his food don't need to be around kids.
Yeah,
And I'm to the point, to be honest with you, this is a hard stance. I don't know, guys, if this is a hard stance. Children almost should not be allowed to be on television. I'm sorry, dog. You gotta cut it off.
Yeah. Yep.
You gotta cut it off. It has to stop. It's a humanitarian issue.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, these weirdos are gravitating to that.
Yeah.
It's not tight. The same way we have these protections around schools, like you can't be within a certain rate. Like,
I totally get the thing with kids not being on TV. I think there can't be as much leeway as there is with adult television, and as much of it as, like, kids programming, I think needs to be way condensed, or like something.
It's got to be teaching happening. If you're talking about pedagogy and you want to teach kids with an adult standing there being a teacher to them. I don't know anymore if it's okay to have children, young people working with adults that closely and so often, because it sounds like our experience with Scott Fellows was an anomaly.
Right.
And if this is the norm, you gotta shut the system down.
Yep.
I hate to be that guy to say it, And I know there are organizations out here trying to work against this. Like, Looking Ahead project is out there. I think Corbin's like running that, and Ashford Dakota. But I don't know if that is enough. It almost got to go away. You almost got to throw it out.
There are child labor laws. A welfare worker, there are welfare workers on set. There is a rule that parents must be in sight of their children at all times. There are these laws, but this is still fucking happening, then it's not enough.
And it's not, no, it's
And
it's
here's the thing, it's happening from both ends. Like these really though, what is going on with the parents and where they're at? Because I almost feel like when a kid is cast, their parent gets cast too, you know? And it's like this whole right?
Especially for these predatory
And these parents are almost doing their own kind of performance and wanting to fit in and like all of this bullshit, you know? It didn't even seem to be the case, you know, with
Lennox want to be an actor.
Was looking out for him. That broke my fuck.
Bro, let Lennox want to be an actor. I'm gonna have to quit my job. I swear to God. I'm gonna have to quit my job. Cause bro, I'm not letting this shit happen. If I'm not quitting my job, somebody gotta quit their job and watch her. Cause bro, what? Is you hearing this shit? Like bro, it's just other people who haven't experienced this shit talking about it. So just imagine how bad the people that actually been through this shit talking about it.
Fucking hard, man.
And bro, the crazy thing is, the clips that I did see, y'all have been boys.
His dad did see it, but your brain doesn't let you go to the worst place. That seems unfathomable.
His dad finally said, or when Drake mustered up the strength to call him and told him that, hey, did you hear they got this guy? And he said, oh my God, I'm glad it never got to you. That broke my heart, man. I think about my dad, man. Yeah, it's fucked up, bro.
Fucked up, man.
You want to do everything for your kids. I don't know his story about where he moved from. We moved far the fuck away from Mississippi.
Yeah.
He would do anything to have been successful. My dad had to give up his own, life, brother's family, good, solid job, trying to be better and establish something for his family. There's so many times that he would sit me down and say, hey, if this ever happens to you, I'm here. I'm always going to be there one step away. I'm right here, right here, right here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about if I ever did want to get away from my dad to try and pursue some greater position.
Yeah.
And I let those people get to me, what could have happened to me. But that bond, man, breaking somebody's bond with their father is fucked up, man.
It's fucked up. And a dad there are stage parents. There are parents out there who aren't looking out for their kid. Jeanette wrote a whole fucking book about it, alright? There are parents that
Jeanette wrote a whole
not
fucking
right.
book about it.
Drake's dad was looking out for him.
Reminds
But
me of Pops.
I know, dude, and that wedge got drawn, and you get it, I get it. It got into Drake's head of, I need to, my dad's the problem. And then you get his father, even though he was suspicious of Brian Peck, you get him going but I don't want to cause a bigger problem that fucks up my son's trajectory.
He was trying to do the right thing and say, hey, my father has told me at times, I'm going to step away from your career because I know you could go way further than if I'm there. People don't think I'm the bad guy, and I don't want to infringe on that. And that's what happened. And then the predators took advantage of that.
The fucking guilt that his dad must have had when he found out, that he still has. You see it when they ask him, he's like, I'm still not the same. The guilt for him having been suspicious and then not drawn it for reasons that was still him being a good dad, unfortunately. The reasons he didn't fully step in was he was still trying to let his son have his dreams.
That's why I'm we kind of got to throw it away.
Yeah.
We kind of got to throw it away.
Real life.
No.
Yeah.
If indeed ours is an anomaly, and it sounds like it is. I don't think it's okay to keep allowing kids to reach this type of stardom. You know, even with social media happening now, at least maybe the parents can be there. I know it has its own issues, but it's disgusting.
See, Lele was just a fucking Instagram star.
Friend's mom.
Look at her ass, got her own show for seasons. Not saying she's doing anything, but like
he said she saw within 6 seconds. As soon
it's
as
so
she saw
easy to
him
get into
interact
that
with
shit, man.
Brian
Because
Beck,
everybody want kid shows.
No,
Like, nah,
hey bud, come talk
kid
to
shows should
me.
be
Come talk to me in the
animated.
kitchen.
I'm not gonna let you just go home.
Come talk to me, and tomorrow I'm gonna take you to someone you might not feel safe talking to me. You're gonna talk to this person. Like, I'm like, thank God there's some people in this fucking story who like were there for the children. That's not her kid.
No.
That's a kid.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about being the village, man. We are all responsible for the babies, and like that's how we raise the world, raise the vibe, raise everything. Like
the investigation, the court case, all of this. That Drake was carrying this is crazy. He came to our pilot rap party, and I remember him kind of big broing me, like in a cool way, like putting me under his shoulder and like welcome to the network and stuff. This was at that time.
Yeah.
This was at the time. Like, I don't know how to process like most of this. Like, I have to say, when I saw our little fucking TikTok clip and that Drake had retweeted it, I was just watching his interview. And someone sent me that he had retweeted it, and then I saw the clip, and like, I just felt, I put out a fucking apology immediately. I felt like a piece of shit. Like, I know it looks like I'm laughing at this, and I fucking wasn't, but I know what it looks like, and that Drake saw it. I never, like, that I just felt so fucking awful. Knowing Drake saw that in that context, and us, him going through this investigation, and then a court case where Brian Peck had a room full of people backing his character, 41 letters backing his character, advising the judge for probation that the guy feels guilt, and I would guess most of the people writing those letters weren't given the details.
They couldn't have.
They were coerced as well. I'm sure they were told, because this is a case involving a minor, they're not going to be given the real details. I'm sure it was super downplayed. But that 41 people backed this man to a judge, and that this man got 18 months in prison and then was back on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody 2 years later is unfucking fathomable, dude. And for Drake to see that.
It's infuriating.
Drake was on Drake and Josh when this dude got out and was then back on a children's network.
He had to have fully lost his sense that there's some good in the world. Like,
yeah, Disney need to drop their shit.
Traumatizing that has
Disney probably got their NDA still intact.
Awful things to you. You finally mustered up the courage to talk about it, get something done about it, and then the system that you thought was gonna fix it slaps you in the face, puts them back on the streets. And then the same industry that maybe you were, hey, you know, we got that bad egg out of the bunch. Same industry comes and hires him
on a kids network.
Another huge show. Like there's no telling. The reason I'm taking such a hard line on getting rid of this maybe children's programming is because this is one incident and we're just now hearing about it. Imagine what else has gone on.
Dude, yeah. And it took Drake fucking 20 years.
20 years.
To really say it. And it took a lot of our peers. Some of them have been speaking for a long time. Some it took a long time for them to address it in the ways that they did. Yeah. What about all the stories that aren't fucking getting told, or the people who didn't get convicted, all the fucking people who just kind of tucked it in and internalized it?
Not to mention the people who don't even get famous, bro.
Right.
chasing this dream. Like we need a reset and a paradigm shift. People chasing this dream, these sleazy managers and people saying, "Oh, I can do this for your child. Oh, you're working. Let me do this. I can hand." It doesn't
It's like,
work.
why do we want to hear from a kid like an adult? Like, all of those interviews, all of the this, all of the questions, all of the whatever, like, there's too much at some point. Whether it just be the work, then not any of the press. Like, something's got to cut down. They're not a celebrity like an adult is and should not be treated as such.
Yeah. Because, like we talked about, like, even without the worst of it coming to you, it's a process. Becoming an adult identity after child acting because you were asked to wear this adult mask as a kid and give interviews and have press training. It takes a long time to unlearn I am performing for others and pretending to be older than I am.
But it's also wild, like, even with the people who were on our show, with the people we brought in, they have let us in on some stories where we're like, whoa, we were right there. I didn't know that.
Exactly.
And now there's this broader distance where we were like, we couldn't have imagined that you were dealing with these issues, and it was due to this industry that we were all in, and we thought was giving people some semblance of joy and
joy and a dream. And like we were all around each other smiling. Reading Jeanette's book a couple years back broke me, knowing like we are all at these events smiling and being happy kids, and she was carrying like so much. It's just like, oh, I don't know what the world is, and man, I really was protected.
Yeah.
I don't even know what laws could be put in place.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, there are laws out there, but they're clearly not being followed.
Not if there's an environment, which happens a lot in any hierarchy, not just in the film industry, not if there's an environment with a boss who's not looking out for people. If there's a boss who's only in their own fucking power trip and is okay making others uncomfortable to flex their fucking power and yelling at people, that was a normal thing. Like
sneaking up on people,
yeah, the massages, asking an employee to massage you, nope. Already, guys, listeners, there's already a child welfare worker who must be on set. However, plenty of them are disempowered to be an active, like Scott Plimpton, our set tutor, child welfare worker, and he would step up when they were asking us to stay overtime. If they did that a couple days in a like, if it happens once, he would come and be like, I don't care.
But it's gonna cost this much to keep going.
I don't care. This is my job. He was a real one. He took his job seriously. Plenty of set welfare workers are there just fucking sitting around. Like, if they're on set, they must be trained and empowered to be fucking hawks, man.
And probably need to be a tandem team. Somebody else to take
right, because you're halting a huge, you're halting the Titanic.
Yeah, so you're halting a huge momentum, money, massive machine.
And you don't want those repercussions.
You have to be brave. You have to be steadfast in your fucking integrity.
But you have to know the system's gonna back you up.
You have to be able to trust that. You
have to know that at a certain level, like, you're gonna be backed up.
And you have to know that it doesn't matter. Those kids that you're in charge of must be protected. And that's what Scott Plimpton was.
That's it.
Like, fuck, man.
I don't know if it's some kind of training that you have to go through to be a part of kids television. I don't know if it's I don't even know.
I know. How do you fix it?
You might gotta throw it away.
That's what I know.
Why do we need it?
But then, you guys, what?
It hadn't always existed.
But what inspired us to be actors?
Being brainwashed as kids, seeing it on TV. Sorry, throwing it out.
Just throwing it out there.
What inspired me to be an actor was...
You don't feel like it. You don't feel like you were brainwashed. Seeing stuff, TV didn't exist at one point. You were at least conditioned to desire to be on television. And if you had not been in front of a television, you never would have thought you wanted to be on it. You might have wanted to be there.
Sure. Yeah, well, sure.
Yeah.
But TV exists, so
it does.
So
and performances always exist.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think a lot of us who ended up in it, except for the ones whose parents literally forced them into it, for a lot of us, it came out of this. Even Drake said, like, my dream was always to perform. Like, I loved all this shit. Like, that's where it comes from. And if you have a good parent, they try and help you achieve that dream, you know? And what's so fucked is what you said, which is like, it sounds like our experience is somewhat of an anomaly.
Without being protected. I mean, yeah, it's you'll get ripped apart. And
Right.
and this industry, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, like even the kids who spoke about like leaving all that, not without this awful shit happening to them, but just with their self-worth being destroyed.
And having this have to be what they work out for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking breaks you. I mean, and we did get to talk like with Jennifer Ted Mori on our show about like when she wasn't invited back for third season. It was a lot to process, and I'm 99% positive that wasn't for anything personal.
No.
It sounds like the Dan ones were personal. It was like no more to that kid. Jennifer's character kind of just got.
There was just a bunch of other characters
other
that they
characters
started
came
to
in,
write
so then there's
in the
only,
third season.
Right, so I really wasn't personal, but as a kid, you internalize it. You know, what's wrong with me?
Right.
And like, oh my god, I'm sure if Scott knew she felt that
Oh
way,
my
like,
gosh.
he would have told her, hey, no, it's not about
100%.
that.
Scott was really good like that. He would take characters who had auditioned for a role and not gotten in or something, and I think he brought everybody back who had tested for Moe's nanny cookie at some point and put them in the show. Exactly.
When he was replaced,
Exactly.
Like, he had a way of
the children.
Yep.
He had a care for the fact that this is children's television.
Yeah.
So this fucking TikTok live, man, I fully understand now.
Made a vulgar joke.
Yeah.
At a time that was not
it.
Not right.
Not it. It was not it.
You were insulting me.
Yeah.
It is a close relationship, familial, mutual understanding that can develop within social groups where people understand each other's personality, personal boundaries, and senses of humor.
Yeah.
We've been doing this since we were kids.
Yeah.
Now back to talking about the innocence, you know, we have, because our growing up, we were allowed to be innocent in the entertainment environment. We still carry that when we are trying to be entertaining.
Exactly.
And we can banter about things that sometimes are way off. Like,
bad taste, off color, inappropriate.
People were asking me, why are you letting them say something like that to you? And it was more about that, and it's like, dang, we've been doing that for the longest. We exchange things, just extremes. It's the idea of extremes.
Yeah.
But I did do some reflection, and I had to think, why am I so privileged as to be able to joke like that in those ways?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like.
Oh, fuck. Picked the wrong one. You wouldn't even supposed to be watching that, y'all. Why y'all ain't telling me nothing? Why y'all ain't telling me nothing? Why y'all ain't telling me nothing? Why y'all ain't telling me nothing?
Yo,
y'all hear this shit?
Hey, bro. Hey, I know it's early, but Kendrick did J. Cole.
Stupid ass. Come on, man. It's friendly competition, bro.
Nah, it's not friendly this time, bro.
What are you talking about?
They really did. He did so.
You talking about K-Dot?
Yes.
Mr. Morale.
Yeah. It's Mr. Morale, bro. He got more and shit. That nigga not doing that shit for real, bro. He's kidding around. They best friends, nigga.
No, that's why I thought he the big stepper right now, bro. He really did still.
Oh my God, bro. Let me hear, bro. Damn, bro. Waking me up for this. Come on. Who beat is this?
Metro beat. Metro Future.
Boy, Metro Future and Kendrick Lamar jumping.
Jump?
Well, they just Drake too.
Wait.
Yeah.
Play, let me hear. Play. Why that beat so hard?
Why that beat so hard?
Something not right.
Hair with low or high porosity have different needs.
So right products make all the difference.
I'm your person.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in X-Men 97, Episode 2. This episode adapted one of the all-time greatest X-Men comics and teased a tragic story that, believe it or not, was hinted at in the very first season of X-Men way back in 1993. Not to mention that ending with the double of Jean Grey. So I'm going to explain all that and more, but first, I am so proud to announce that we designed these new X-Men parody shirts in our merch store. We have the X-Men Nighthawks, drawn by Spawn artist Mark Spears, the Xmas Club parody of the Breakfast Club, and Doug as Wolverine. For 1 week only, these shirts are 15% off, and shopping our merch store is the best way for you to directly support our channel so we can bring you videos like this one. So, let's dive in.
Let's get started.
I want to talk first about the voice cast of the show, because many of the original voice cast have returned or been shuffled around to different characters. Norm Spencer, the original Cyclops, has sadly passed away, so he has been replaced by Ray Chase. Wolverine, Storm, Jean, and Mr. Sinister are all played by the same actors. Turned or been shuffled around to different characters. Norm Spencer, the original Cyclops, has sadly passed away, so he has been replaced by Ray Chase. Wolverine, Storm, Jean, and Mr. Sinister are all played by the same actors. Rogue is even voiced by the original actor Lenore Zann, even though she became a member of Canadian Parliament after the original series ended. No way, that's so cool. Yes, it is. Professor Xavier is now voiced by the great mimic Ross Marquand. Marquand also did a spot-on imitation of Hugo Weaving's Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame.
If only it were that easy.
Holly Chow now voices Jubilee after the original actor also recast Cable because, according to showrunner Bo DeMaio, substituting the original actor Bane, quote, enhanced the unconventional dynamic between Cable and his father, Scott Summers / Cyclops. Wait a minute, Cable is Cyclops' son? Buddy, this show is about to get weird on levels that we never dreamed of, but I'll explain all that in just a bit because there's like some potential spoilers from the comics. Now, when we broke down the first episode, I mentioned that Jean was pregnant, and this is where I have to get into a little bit of comic book history. In the comics, Jean Grey full-on died at the end of the Dark Phoenix saga, and originally they had no intention of bringing her back.
It's over?
But a few years later, Scott met a woman named Madeline Pryor who looked exactly like Jean Grey. They fell in love and had a baby together, Nathan Christopher Summers. But it turns out that Madeline was actually a clone of Jean Grey that was created by Mr. Sinister. So in the comics and in the TV show, Mr. Sinister is obsessed with the DNA of Scott and Jean. His ultimate goal is to create a perfect species of mutant kind, and he believes that Scott and Jean's genes will create that perfection.
Are the prototypes, and from your offspring, I will control the future of all human creatures on Earth.
So, after Jean died, Mr. Sinister cloned her to essentially breed the clone with Scott. That duplicate gene at the end of this episode hints that this storyline is going to be adapted in this show, but I'll explain some key differences and theories a little bit later.
Hey, person, I just want to say that you're really important to me.
Thanks, man. You're really important. On any order with the code ScreenCrush. Go to underluckystars/ScreenCrush or click our link below to get your star right now. Now back to what I was saying. Now, we do see some similarities between Jean and Madeline Pryor. Madeline wanted Scott to leave the X-Men to raise their baby, just like Jean does here. And Madeline also felt like she had to compete with the X-Men and Scott's sense of duty to the team. But again, we're going to talk more about that a little later in the video. Right away, there are a few key differences in the opening of this episode. For starters, Cyclops is always the person who narrated the recap.
Previously on X-Men.
But now Magneto has taken over that role.
Previously on X-Men.
It's subtle, but it shows how Magneto has taken Scott's place as leader of the team. And to highlight that difference, Magneto is now the first person in the intro as team leader. He is wearing his giant M suit from the comics, designed by the great John Romita Jr. And there was like a long period of time in the books when Chris Claremont, the X-Men writer, had Magneto reform and become the team leader. This all started when he reinvented the character in Uncanny X-Men number 150. Prior to this issue, Magneto had always been a very one-note, I will destroy you and rule the world type of villain. But that issue revealed that Magneto was actually a survivor of the Holocaust. And there's a moment where he almost kills Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, before he realizes that she's just a young girl, a young Jewish girl, the very type of child that he was trying to protect. Magneto then just stops his attack on humanity and goes off to find himself. He allied with the X-Men during Secret Wars and eventually accepted Charles's offer to lead the school in his place. This is something that the original series hinted at for a long time, with Charles constantly asking Magneto to join him.
It was good to fight alongside you again, Charles. Then join me in my work. Did it feels so odd, Magnus, working together? No
Magnus.
Now notice how in
See that? That's like the gap in my health insurance. Good thing I had Aflac. The cash I got from Aflac really helped close that gap.
Need help with expenses? Health insurance doesn't cover. At Aflac.com.
the intro, Magneto even takes these beams and creates an X to show that he's now a member of the team. The intro also fully removes Professor Xavier, so actually maybe he really is dead, and in his place they show recreations of previous episodes. We see Storm beating Callisto in combat to take over leadership of the Morlocks, the sewer-dwelling mutants the X-Men first encountered in Season 1, who we see later this episode. Now, I think this is here to hint at one of the big events in this episode, Storm losing her powers, which is like a whole other massive story from the comics I want to talk about in a bit. And then we also see Jean as Dark Phoenix. Now, this was an epic 9-part story from Season 3 adapted from the comics. The TLDR here is that Jean was possessed by a cosmic force called the Phoenix Force that saved the universe. But the Phoenix eventually drives Jean insane and she turns evil, destroying entire suns. Jean sacrifices her own life to free the Phoenix, but then the X-Men reanimate her by giving up a portion of their own life forces.
The gift need not come from a single entity. A smaller portion from many is possible.
Now, we also see Bishop in his time portal from Days of the Future Past. Now, every time Bishop would travel into the past, it was to prevent a major disaster that caused the rise of the Sentinels, like an assassination or a plague, or the death of Charles Xavier in the 1950s from a time-traveling assassin. Now, we're not exactly sure why he has traveled to the present day now. We only know that his time band isn't working, but this episode also featured another important time traveler in the X-Men canon that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. In the opening credits, we also see a shot of Magneto on Asteroid M, his orbital base that we saw in the Season 4 arc Sanctuary. Now, in those episodes, Magneto built an asteroid as a haven for mutants, but he was betrayed by a power-hungry acolyte named Fabian Cortez, and afterwards Magneto got really depressed.
Losing Asteroid M has made me weird.
The episode is titled Mutant Liberation Begins, a play on the speech that Magneto gave in the final episode, Graduation Day.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
We open at Coney Island, where a ride is malfunctioning and a kid's cassette Walkman is destroyed. All seems lost until Magneto shows up, embracing his new role as a hero. Now, I should note that this idea of Magneto becoming a good guy and leading the X-Men after Xavier's death was also in the groundbreaking crossover Age of Apocalypse. That story is about an alternate timeline where Xavier was assassinated before he formed the X-Men. And so, his best friend Magneto swears to fulfill his dream in a world where Apocalypse has taken over the United States. This was a great crossover. We're going to talk about it a little bit later in the video. Now, another news report catches us up, telling us that
gone missing after failing to launch a mutant rebellion.
Which is from the series finale, Graduation Day, where Magneto chooses to save Xavier's life instead of leading a worldwide mutant liberation.
I know, my greatest enemy, and perhaps my only friend. But I have waited all my life for this moment!
During this opening, we see the War Room from Dr. Strangelove, which was also replicated in the movie X-Men First Class. The newscaster is one Trish Tilby, who was one of Beast's love interest in the comics. And then we see this Friends of Humanity terrorist using a control collar to power the gun that will eventually rob Storm of her powers. So, in the comics, this character is called the Executioner. He was a former FBI agent named Carl Denty, who was the partner of Fred Duncan, the FBI agent who used to feed Charles Xavier information and was probably played by Oliver Platt in First Class, so they never named his character. After Duncan's death, Denty stole his X-Men gear and dedicated himself to punishing mutants for their crimes. Then we see the Friends of Humanity holding the Morlocks hostage, and notice how when Magneto approaches Leech, his energy field dissipates, because Leech's power is to cancel out the abilities of other mutants. Back at the mansion, Beast lays down some Mark Twain.
The only safe and sure way to destroy your enemy is to make him your friend.
I'm really glad they're keeping up with this Beast tradition, giving him a quote like every episode. The book previously on X-Men even has an entire chapter devoted to Beast's best quotations. So the X-Men are trying to make sense of Magneto now leading the team, and Bishop says,
I've seen a lot of futures, but Magneto leading the X-Men. That's a new one.
So this is where I should mention that in the X-Men universe, the future is always changing. Bishop came back in time to prevent the rise of the Sentinels, but when he returned, it turned out that a plague was killing mutants instead. In the X-Men comics, Scott and Jean's daughter Rachel arrives from the future, but after Jean has died and never given birth to a daughter. Rachel also notices several differences from her own timeline and that universe that she currently inhabits. And I actually think that Rachel Summers might end up being in this show, but I'm going to talk about that a bit later. Then Rouge says,
Maybe
we should take a page from the professor's playbook and give Eric a second shot.
So, a few things to unpack here. First of all, remember, Rogue was once a villain. Mystique actually ordered her to drain the power of Carol Danvers, which we saw back in Season 2. Now, maybe because Rogue was a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, this might explain why she and Magneto have connections to their villainous past.
Really?
Get that later on in the episode.
That was a long time ago, Eric. And that cat's gonna stay in its bag. You hear me?
This is also why she's quicker to forgive him than the other X-Men. Also, she calls him Eric, which shows her personal connection. But also, when the first season of the animated series debuted, Xavier only called Magneto Magnus.
A dedicated young egg named Magnus assisted me.
This is because, at that time, they had not even revealed Magneto's name in the comics. That didn't happen until X-Men issue 300. Magneto has simply Morlocks to Genosha. Now, when we first saw Genosha, it was a slave state that used mutants to build infrastructure for Master Mold. But, in the episode Sanctuary, Magneto liberated the island. And, on graduation day, we saw that it had become a sanctuary for mutants, just like it eventually becomes in the comics. Jean refuses to scan Magneto's mind without permission, an ethical rule of the professors that she still follows. In her room, we see the photo of her and Scott that Wolverine used to touch in the famous meme. And we also see her old Marvel Girl suit. Now, this is the first uniform that she wore after graduating from the classic X-Men Yellow. And the last time she wore this was when the X-Men battled the Shi'ar for her life when the Dark Phoenix was going out of control. Jean is worried about their child being a mutant, just like she was in the finale of Season 1.
If we have children, they'll be mutants. They'll face the same problem.
Who cleans this best? Tide. Get 3 times the cleaning power when you switch to Tide.
This guy again. Pops. Hey, son, you got a little something on your face. Needed a quick shave. Quick shave? Respect the process.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad. It's from Gillette Labs.
Gillette Labs?
Gillette's ultimate
problems we have all their lives.
Meanwhile, in Magneto's study, he is holding his old helmet, like he's looking at his old self. He originally built the helmet as a psi shield against Professor Xavier. But now, with Xavier gone, he doesn't need it, and it's just a reminder of his past life. But, the helmet also placed an emotional barrier between himself and Xavier. It prevented his best friend from connecting with him, and it was a sign that he was no longer Eric, he was Magneto. Now he's questioning if he can actually change and literally become a new man. Also, this romantic tension here between Rogue and Magneto is not new.
I feared you would do your best to avoid being alone with me, Rogue.
In the Age of Apocalypse comics, they're actually married in an alternate present because Magneto figured out how to use his powers to cancel out Rogue, so he's the only man that she can actually touch. And in this show, it's going to create a love triangle between them and Gambit.
The blast had your name on it. Should be you leaving, mon ami.
Then the UN shows up to arrest Magneto, which happened in the classic X-Men issue 200, The Trial of Magneto. This episode lifts entire dialogue from that issue, and for my money, it actually is better written in places. Both stories feature a very public trial in front of a tribunal, and the trials are attacked by would-be assassins, and the X-Men then have to enforce the rule of law. Also, during these events, Madeline Pryor gave birth to Cyclops' son, just like Jean gives birth in this episode. If that really is Jean. If that's Jean, and it may not be, I'll explain what I mean a little bit later in the video. Now, the trial is being broadcast on WHIH, the MCU news network, where they release news and interviews on digital shorts, like this one leading up to Captain America Civil War. Wolverine says,
Cooper's listed every nasty step Magneto's taken from here to Asteroid M.
Now, you may notice that Wolverine sounds a little different despite being voiced by the same actor. This is in part due to the actor getting older, but also because they wanted Wolverine to sound more like Charles Bronson, his original inspiration from the comics. Outside the UN, we see Friends of Humanity protesters. Now, Season 1 of the show ended with a pro-mutant president taking power.
We must not forget that mutants are human beings.
Afterwards, a fringe group called the Friends of Humanity rose to power, similar to the Ku Klux Klan. And now we see that this fringe group is so large that they've become mainstream, as they become a mob and storm a government building to interrupt an official procedure, which I have to think was inspired by the insurrectionist riot at the Capitol in 2021. When the trial begins, the shot of Magneto being shackled is an homage to the classic John Romita Jr. cover of X-Men 200, except now he's also wearing a mutant control collar like we saw in the episodes Slave Island and in the Deadpool movies. And just like in the issue, Magneto outlines how his life story has influenced his decisions.
My people's homes were burned to ash because we dared to call God by another name.
This entire monologue is actually Magneto questioning himself. Can he ever really change? I don't think he's sure of himself at this point, but he has seen that his way does not really work, and he can never forgive himself if he didn't at least try the path that his best friend has laid down for him.
Charles Xavier entrusted me with his dream.
So in the middle of all this petty character drama, we get the best laugh of the series.
He's here!
Apocalypse?
Baby!
I'm gonna laugh every time I see that fucking joke, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Does not really work, and he can never forgive himself if he didn't at least try the path that his best friend has laid down for him.
Charles Xavier entrusted me with his dream.
So in the middle of all this petty character drama, we get the best laugh of the series.
He's here!
Apocalypse?
The baby!
Oh, crap.
I love this so much. The warrior response to birth was also my favorite joke in Star Trek The Next Generation.
Congratulations. You are fully dilated to 10 centimeters. You may now give birth.
So now, Wolverine has to drive Jean to the hospital, and he still has the same Jeep that he drove in the pilot episode of the show. On the way, we see a sign for Wine's Cafe and Diner, named after comic book writer Lynn Wine. Lynn Wine co-created Wolverine and the new X-Men, writing Giant-Size X-Men #1. Plus, he wrote several episodes of the original animated series. We also see Romita's Salon, named after John Romita Jr., who had a legendary run on X-Men, drawing the issue The Trial of Magneto. One of the bystanders here is wearing a Happy Face shirt, which I guess you could say is a Watchmen Easter egg. And I loved how Jean, even though she's like in labor, is able to not only keep this guy safe, but also calmly make sure he doesn't spill his drink. Back at the UN, one of the protesters has a sign that reads, "Evolution is a lie," which of course is something a lot of people actually believe. But saying this is another way of saying that mutations and mutants are not natural because they're not part of the evolutionary process. This mirrors how the X-Men have always resonated with the gay community. Mutants hit puberty and suddenly realize
Not being a mutant?
So when the Executioner attacks, you can tell that he had studied the X-Men weaknesses. He knows to attack Cyclops and remove his visor, which is also how a powerless Storm won leadership of the X-Men from Cyclops in issue 201. Lady Deathstrike joins the battle. Now, she first appeared in Uncanny X-Men 205, but we did see her back in season 3 of the animated series. Funny story, one of the overseas animators actually drew her with like massive cleavage. So they had to increase their budget to get them to add in a white shirt under her vest so the children wouldn't be scared.
Somebody please!
Did I watch
story? One of the overseas animators actually drew her. Lady Deathstrike joins the battle. Now, she first appeared in Uncanny X-Men 205, but we did see her back in season 3 of the animated series. Funny story, one of the overseas animators actually drew her with like massive cleavage. So they had to increase their budget to get them to add in a white shirt under her vest so the children wouldn't be scared.
Somebody please pick up the children!
Now, her real name is Yuriko, and she was once in love with Logan, but after he disappeared to get the Weapon X treatment, she got cybernetic implants of her own. Colossus also shows up. Now, in the comics, he was a key member of the team from issue 93 all the way until he left to join Magneto in issue 304, but he's only ever been a guest star on the animated series. I would actually love to see him added to the permanent roster. And also, one of my all-time favorite characters, Psylocke, shows up. Now, in the comics, she was an English rose named Betsy Braddock, sister of Captain Britain. But after entering a portal called the Siege Perilous, she swapped bodies with a Japanese assassin named Quanon and started using psychic knives. She also appeared in the final arc of Season 4 and was actually originally set to join the team permanently at the end of Season 4 before they added more episodes for Season 5. At the hospital, the doctor says,
"You people can lose control of your powers, and if she needs a C-section..."
Mirroring the unfortunate history of segregated hospitals in America where non-white people were not treated at the better, more expensive white hospitals. Back at the hearing, Magneto creates giant swords of metal, but he uses them to contain and protect.
Dawn Power Wash has 3 cleaning boosters not found in traditional dish soaps. It's more than soap, it's power wash.
So glad I remembered Uber Eats has office supplies, but I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, shoes untied.
Nope. Protect people and not to attack. This is a really neat visual way of showing how now he will use his powers to protect mankind instead of using them to attack humanity. He also does this so Storm can create a shield of electricity. And combining his powers with an X-Man's is another way of showing how he is slowly integrating into Charles's dream. And then, the moment. Storm takes the shot that was meant for Magneto and loses her powers. Now this is an almost exact recreation of when this happens in the comics in issue 185. In that issue, a mutant called Forge, who actually leads X-Factor in the original animated series, was paid by Val Cooper to create a gun to neutralize mutant abilities. Now they did this to capture Rogue, who was a newly reformed supervillain who had just broken into a SHIELD helicarrier. But then, Gyrick, jerk, cranks the gun all the way up to 11 and Storm jumps in the way of the blast. So this kicks off an amazing arc for Storm in the comics, where she has to learn to not feel the wind. And she has to rediscover who she is and how she can now lead the team. She also falls in love with Forge, the man who inadvertently stole her powers. This emotional conflict was explored in 2 great issues called Life Death, which is the name of an episode of this series. So I think this is going to be like really gut-wrenching to see in this show.
Wait, what?
This emotional conflict was explored in 2 great issues called Life Death, which is the name of an...
Oh, I'm about to say, because what the fuck? Okay, so yeah. That's going to be the 4th episode. And the 6th.
episode of this series. So I think this is going to be like really gut-wrenching to see in this show.
The breeze is gone.
Magneto captures the Executioner, rotating him like a clock that is either counting down to mankind's extinction or to his own forgiveness and a new beginning. For him, Storm losing her powers is an attempt at making his own kind extinct. He already saw his people eradicated during the Holocaust.
Right. This is your dream. My kind splayed before you, powerless and afraid.
And for a moment, you feel like Magneto is just gonna turn evil again.
Is this the high road?
Not for real.
He brings the judges and Executioner up above the clouds to send this message. He is God. He even threatens to smite them.
So small I could smite you with a step.
And at this moment, he really wants to smite them.
I swear to God.
It gives us something to remember about the Earth.
How vast it is versus how small we make it.
And man, what a brilliant cutaway to Jean, who at that moment is making something small, a baby. This also reminds me of Christopher Reeve's final speech as Superman. Similarly, Magneto has one simple question about the world.
And that my kind, like yours, have the right to live in it.
And the bitter double meaning of that last line.
Do not make me let you down.
And I love how those words...
Bro, y'all watch me react to these episodes, bro, and you know that I lost my fucking mind when this nigga said, please, do not let me let you down. Do not make me let you down. Like, what?
My kind, like yours,
Oh,
have the right
shit.
to live in it.
And the bitter
Oh,
double meaning
shit.
of that last line.
Do not make me let you down.
And I love how those words like intone his hope for the future, but they also drip with a threat of what he would do if they caused him to become a villain again.
Yeah.
Exquisite writing. And then
Yeah.
we meet Scott and Jean's son and the other time traveler, Nathan. The baby's a time traveler? Well, he is in the comics. You see, in the comics, baby Nathan gets infected with a technovirus, which we also saw in this show. They can't cure him, so instead they sent him to live in the future where he grows up to become Cable. And believe it or not, they kind of hinted at this all the way back in season 1.
Name, Cyclops.
I know about him and Jean Grey. Continue.
And then the UN pardons Magneto and agrees to admit the mutant nation Genosha into the United Nations. As Scott and Magneto watch the news, they drink dark roast coffee. This may be a tongue-in-cheek way for Scott to acknowledge and accept the darkness that Magneto adds into the team. Now, Scott and Jean are preparing to leave the team, just like how after Nathan was born, Scott and Madeline Pryor moved to Alaska. It didn't go well for either of them, that's all I'll say. So this new
Lord.
optimism is tempered by Storm's devastating news.
The effects appear permanent.
It's just heartbreaking. She looks at her uniform, which still bears the wound on her chest, symbolizing how the shot didn't just take away her powers, it took away her heart. Also, the pattern of the blast looks similar to the panel where she loses her powers in the comics. And then a thunderbolt strikes. And for the first time since her childhood, Storm is afraid of the weather. She writes a letter to Jean saying,
You of all the X-Men know the heartbreak of saying goodbye, having said it so many times.
referring to how Jean had to take the Macron crystal into the sun to save the universe, and how she once sacrificed her own life to release the Phoenix from her mind. Under her narration, we see Morph try to tempt the Canuck Logan with Canadian beer to cheer him up after he saw Scott and Jean together. And then he turns into Sabretooth to egg him into a wrestling match. Now Now last episode, I said Morph was being kind of a dick for teasing Logan about Jean.
And I'm having the most beautiful baby in the world with the most boring man in the world.
But now, I get it. Morph is the only guy who's not afraid of Wolverine, who can actually call him out on his shit. Now we see why Logan was so heartbreaking when he thought that Morph died.
I'll avenge you, my friend. I swear it.
Magneto looks at a photo of himself with Charles, which was probably taken during their friendship, which we saw flashbacks of in Enter Magneto. Rogue touches his skin, and notice how Gambit, overhearing in the hallway, drops the Queen of Hearts, a card associated with love, to show that he's heartbroken. And then the episode ends with a second Jean Grey showing up. So the question is this the clone Madeline Pryor? Now there are rumors that Sinister is going to be the antagonist of this season. He was the villain who cloned Jean Grey and created Madeline Pryor in the comics. And also, there was a brief period of time at the end of Season 2 when Sinister kidnapped Jean and held her hostage, and then the X-Men came to rescue her in the Savage Land. So it's possible that during that time, Sinister was able to clone Jean, and then maybe he sent the clone back to the X-Men. So the Jean that we know from Seasons 3 through 5, the one who became the Phoenix, that could have just been a clone.
Say what?
Also in the comics, Madeline Pryor goes insane and becomes the villain to Goblin Queen during an event called Inferno. It's like an incredible crossover.
Yo. Say it again.
It's been a clone.
Say what?
Also in the comics, Madeline Pryor goes insane and becomes the villain to Goblin Queen during an event called...
Yep, that's the definitely the direction they're going. And you know what? I'm so fucking slow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro, that's exactly where they fucking going, bro. I can see the next episode. Starting off where they ended the second episode. And while she's holding the baby, she turned into the fucking Goblin Queen. Only reason I say that shit, man, because I saw the Funko Pop. Or I saw something else before the Funko Pop saying that it's going to be part of the show. I'm like, yep. Yo, I didn't know that was going to be her, though. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy. That is so fucking crazy. Crazy.
Rescue her in the Savage Land. So it's possible that during that time, Sinister was able to clone Jean, and then maybe he sent the clone back to the X-Men. So the Jean that we know from Seasons 3 through 5, the one who became the Phoenix, that could have just been a clone.
Say what?
Also in the comics, Madeline Pryor goes insane and becomes the villain to Goblin Queen during an event called Inferno. It's like an incredible crossover that could definitely be adapted into this show. Or it could be that there is no clone, and this is like the real Jean. In the comics, it turned out that Jean was never possessed by the Phoenix Force. Instead, the Phoenix created a facsimile of Jean and then created an energy cocoon for her body to regenerate at the bottom of the Hudson River. I'm very curious to see how this is all going to tie into Jean's vision. Like, who was that? Was that a vision of Nathan, of Rachel Summers, or was it a vision of herself from the future? Guys, let me know what you thought of the episode and all your thoughts and theories down in the comments or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first
Not
time
for
here,
real
please
though.
subscribe,
What was
smash
that
bell
vision
button.
in the first
Screen
episode?
Crush. I'm Ryan Airy.
Real talk, bro. We gotta talk about that. Talk about that. That is crazy. crazy.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoiler.
Oh, we ain't watching that. I'm about to put on some shades so I can watch while I'm off of here. It's called Unfriended, and I wanna watch it.
Movie footage used in the kill count is owned entirely by the copyright holders. Deadbeat makes no claim of ownership and simply uses the footage for purposes of education.
Alright, they getting straight into it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Dun da dun. Dun da dun. Dun da dun. Dun da dun.